Welcome to Westbridge Hills first look map tour with me, MrSealyp. Here we are again on Westbridge Hills. This is like being back with an old friend. From FS15 I did this map quite a lot. Great map, really do enjoy it. So, first look map tour. We'll have a whiz round, we'll see what's the same, what's different, what's FS17 brought to the party. A few things have changed, a lot have stayed the same. Initial thoughts, I like it. I always liked this map before. We start at the farmhouse, which is just south of Central on the map. Excuse me, we are just here. And as you can see from the map, the fields aren't much different. The map looks a little bit more detailed. When you go around, you'll see, I'll explain as I go around. The field numbers are pretty much the same. The one glaring difference for me that I've noticed is over here. Field 13 used to come all the way up here. That whole expanse now is grass. So grass, hay, that's not going to be a problem. You've got a massive expanse of grass there. So that's the one big difference. I have also noticed, could just be me, that this bottom section, field 19 and 20, seems a bit squashed. It seems a lot thinner than it used to be. But we'll see as we go around, like I say. While we're on this screen, prices, I've got this on normal, are about average, going across the kind of FS17 maps. You get the odd ones here and there which stand out more than others, but this is pretty much standard prices. And you've got all your usual sell points. I say your usual, if you've never seen the Westbridge Hills map, these won't be usual to you. So we have got the diner, we've got a freight yard, there's a mill, there's a restaurant, and there's a warehouse. There is the biogas plant where you can sell your silage, but there is also a biomass heating plant where you sell your wood chips. The barn is obviously for selling bales, straw, grass, all those kind of things. And the spinnery is up on the hill, which we will go and see momentarily. Obviously, with the addition of pigs on FS17, we've now got a pig pen, which we will also go and look at. Pig sty, I'm never quite sure what you're supposed to call it. And, oh yeah, the other thing was, keep pressing the wrong button, starting fields. On FS15 you started with field 16 and you had to keep turning that field over to really get anywhere. This one you start with field 16 and 17, which is slightly larger, which is going to help considerably, but those are the only two fields you start with. This field doesn't have a huge amount of this map doesn't have a huge amount of fields, but they are big fields, so there'll be plenty of work. And I suppose with the big bud having just come out, they were going to come out with a largish map. I know some people won't be happy with this. There are a lot of other PC maps out there, larger American maps, which I think people were hoping for. But Westbridge Hills is a firm favourite. I think that bounced over from FS13 to 15, and then obviously now it's bounced again over into 17. So, without further ado, let's begin our tour around the map. I say without further ado. Actually, yeah, without further ado, yeah. Don't know why I just went on the bonnet then, but I'll open up the little map here. So, we are facing east across the map, and like I say, we're just south of Central. I'm going to kind of do a spiral out. I'll explain where I am as we go around. So, if we turn left, the first glaringly obvious difference, if you remember on FS15, there used to be like a barn here on the right hand side. That's now gone, which leaves this field a more kind of straight and easy to manage field. When we come into the farmyard, the barn's had a bit of an upgrade there. Your straw sell point, that's all been done, but the chickens remain the same. The enclosure seems a little bit smaller. I don't know if it's just me, whether it's just my perception, I'm not too sure. The map as a whole seems a lot crisper, a lot clearer, cleaner. The textures, the colours seem to be a little bit more, they seem to pop a little bit more, but then that's the FS17 thing, I suppose. So coming into the yard, which was a big open space before, another glaringly obvious change, great big tree in the middle of the yard, which wasn't here before. The barn over this side was here, as was the fuel point, as was the barn there, but the barn that is missing was the one that used to be here, which used to be for your potatoes, sugar beets and wood chip storage. It used to be just here. That's gone. So a bit more space there, but you can stick in a barn of your choice there. Whatever you should choose. In the larger barn here we've got a few of our vehicles, which I suppose is probably the best time to actually use this menu to look at the vehicles we start with. We start with one case 1455. We start with a case Puma, which is a nice addition to start with. We've got some front loader attachment bucket. We start with a case. It's a bit of a case heavy farm. The case 1660, kind of bog standard map starter harvester. A couple of trailers, the Metal Tech and the Agro Liner. We've got a Vogel Newt cultivator, the Vaderstat seeder, weight and pickup. But that's it, which isn't a huge amount of equipment, but that's all what we start with on the map. And obviously on normal you start with 20,000, which again, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's the same as any map. How you get going is going to be your choice. So backing out of there, we've got our silo for storage, our unload point, and we've got our loading point, which is the same as it was on 15. However, the seed refill point has gone, which was here, and over here you used to have the fertilizer, liquid fertilizer refill point. That has also gone. So there is no seed or fertilizer refill point at the main yard, which may mean a placeable, possibly. So coming out of here, we are just pointing north at the moment. I'm going to take a left and we're going to head up towards the shop, the vehicle shop, that is. Now the other difference I've noticed is a lot of what used to be the metalled roads, sort of tarmacked roads, are now dirt tracks. They seem a lot wider, some of them as well, which I assume is to allow for some of the bigger machinery now that's available. Along this left hand side here was a row of trees which no longer exists, but the field numbers appear to all still be the same, and the field sizes don't appear to have changed too much that I can tell. Contracting is available, as always is. Well, I say always is, mostly is. I know there were a few issues on Chellington Farm way back when that first came out, but this one, most of the maps since then have been fine. So we're up at the store. We've got our sell point, customization point, we've got our little cash point, ATM here, and if you want to go in and talk to the helpful staff about your next purchase, you can come in here to the store. All very lovely. This hasn't changed much at all, but the other thing being, here at the store there is also no seed refill point or fertilizer refill point, which I just personally find rather interesting and a bit peculiar. So from here, like I said, we're going to kind of spiral out. I'm going to head west, then go kind of around the outskirts of the map and bring us all the way back round. So if we go westward, we're heading to the outside of the map. On the left hand side, I think it's field, I think it's 15 it might be, trying to remember when I played it, 14, which is quite a nice size. That has got corn in. When I played this on FS15, I used to put corn in this because it was right by the biogas plant, which is down the bottom of the field. It was perfect for doing silage harvests. You could just unload straight there, and that's just what I used to do. The dairy, obviously PC players, sometimes you have the dairy option for selling your milk, and the dairy up here on FS15 was never, you couldn't use it. PC games might be able to, but you can't on PS4. I don't know about Xbox, but that's where it is. Coming across from here, I've lost the track, so I'll cut across the grass in a moment. There we go. We have got the open air cinema, whatever you want to call it, and we come across the back of the big field. I said field 13 that used to come all the way out to here is now all grass. campground, just on the right. So we're on the western side of the map and we are now heading south. So we are kind of spiralling out and around. As you can see on the left hand side, it is a rather large expanse of grass, which if you felt inclined to plough it out, you would be more than welcome to do so, I would imagine. Now, coming down to the southwest corner of the map, this is where the timber and lumber sell point always was. It hasn't changed dramatically, other than obviously the huge crane, which is one of the FS17 developments. The sell point used to be a little bit further back, but now we've got the crane and the sell point just here. So this is your timber and lumber sell point. And as we come up here, we have got the biomass heating plant. So you tip your wood chips into here, and it sells them directly, and they get burnt and produce power, etc. So that's biomass heating. Now, if we come, actually we'll come around the back first. What used to be here were a load of kind of oil pumps, pumping things. This is where the pigs now are. So, pretty much southwest corner is all things pigs. Just jump out. L3. There we go. Anything pig related, this is the place to do it. So, southwest corner, pigs. Look on the big map, right down the bottom corner. Now this is the bit I was talking about. To me, it just, I don't know, it just seems a bit narrower. It just seems a lot thinner on the right hand side than I remember it on FS15. Could be a trick of the mind, don't know, but it could be. On the left hand side, we've got the first of our sell points that we're going to come across in this first look, and this is the not the diner, this is the restaurant. For a quick look on the map, let's say southwest, we are way down here. So as you can see, biomass heating plant, the lumber point actually isn't shown on there, which is just there. That's interesting. We're at the restaurant, so it's the first of our sell points. We'll be heading east again in a moment towards the biogas plant. Lots of the houses have changed. There's some new textures, new building types. There's a few different things that have been added. There's a few things, lots of clumps of trees that have been removed. Egg sell point, that hasn't changed, that's where it was before. One of the bigger changes is the biogas heating plant. It's exactly where it was before, but the actual layout and the actual design of it has changed. It's the kind of more modernised FS17 version with all the little outbuildings and odds and ends, and some of this is all moved around here, but biogas is here. The sell point used to be over here, it's now over there. Other than that, it's a pretty standard biogas heating plant, the same as you get on most of the maps. I do like, so one thing I do like in America generally is the stars and stripes, the fact they're up everywhere. If you look on the British maps, the English maps, you don't see the Union flag flying just randomly in places. I do like that about the Americans, it's really nice. Anyway, drifting off, heading east again, we are on the sort of southern side of the map. We come to the cow farm, the dairy farm. Now, this has changed quite a lot. There was a narrow entrance here before. This is much wider, much more open, different cow shed. The silage bunker seems narrower to me, but that could be just be my imagination again. And the field itself doesn't seem as big, but then there's a lot more building here than there ever was before. But this is the dairy farm for all things cow related. If it's bovine, it's here. There we go, cows. Now along here used to be a big, mine's gone blank, liquid manure tank. There was a huge liquid manure tank here. This seems to have been shortened, and this all seems to be a much bigger area. There was also a big building here, a big kind of barn thing across the top. There is a hydrant here, which wasn't there before. There was a little fountain before, but we've now got a hydrant. But field 19 and 20 are still where they were. Like I say, just seem a little bit narrower. It could just be me, my imagination. But there are some very big fields on this map, so we are now going to be heading east again. Like I say, we are gradually spiralling out on the map, past field 21 on the right, 18 on the left, which is a rather large field. So now, coming up the eastern side of the map, this is where things change quite a lot. We've got Emerson's, our livestock market is up here on top of the hill with commanding views of the whole area. Around the back is our next sale point, which is the diner. That hasn't changed, the diner is exactly where it was, but some of these sale points now seem to have been refined a little bit. The grid, the sort of grate over the top of them, seems a finer mesh pattern than those big thick bars you get on some of the maps, so that's been changed a little bit. The spinnery is along here and hasn't changed from FS15, that's just along here. I know I keep referring back to FS15, and if you didn't play it on FS15 or you're new to the game entirely, that's no frame of reference for you. But for me, it's the only way I can I'm trying to relate to where things were in relation to where they were before. So I apologise. I don't mean to keep saying it just to annoy people or anything. It's just how my mind is processing what I'm showing. So, spinnery sell point for wool is just here, which is also the eastern edge. We're kind of east halfway up the map, well, not quite halfway up the map. So, eastern edge, right hand side, spinnery. We are on the higher side of the maps now. This side, the eastern side, is kind of higher ground. It dips down into a valley and then kind of up out the other side. Right, we will go down this way actually, so we're cutting back in towards the centre of the map now. You can go right round the outside of the map over that direction, which takes you up around some rather large fields, which we will head towards in a minute. We're coming back around towards, we're facing the farm now. On the left hand side is the fields that we start with. We're coming down the hill, we're going back towards, or going towards, not back towards, we're going towards our sheep. Again, this enclosure is a little bit smaller than it was before, but this is our sheep pen. I should have stopped in the vehicle a little bit closer, but never mind. Sheep pen is just here, and the feed troughs are at the front, water trough as well. Moving onwards, we come to the mill, and there's a railroad that runs through the centre of it. This is the next sale point. So this is the mill. Unlike some of the maps, like Sosnovka, you can't send the train, and there is another sale point further across at the freight yard, which you still can't on that one either. But anyway, so through from the mill, we are heading north, and we are going through between two rather large fields. Field 9 on the right is massive. Field 8 on the left, not as big, but still a fair size. You look on the map and they don't look too big, but in real life, yeah, they're big fields. There are more fields that run off around the back of here, but I'm just going to duck in here. This is the warehouse, and this is the warehouse sell point, is around the back of here. So this is the warehouse sell point, and we'll head across the map, heading westward again, more across the kind of northern end of the map now. And we've got a fuel point here, just a fuel tank. There's no gas station on this map. Now this was the garden centre. If you bought saplings and things like that before, this is where they would appear. There was also a seed refill point and a fertiliser refill point here before. There isn't here either. So from what I've found so far, there doesn't appear to be a seed or fertiliser refill point anywhere on the map. It would all have to be done by pallets unless you put a placeable in. which is, you know, it's not the end of the world. There's a placeable available. If there wasn't, it would be a bit like Goldcrest Valley when that originally came out. It could get a bit frustrating having to do it all by pallets, but not the end of the world. On our left, field 7, another fairly large map. Field. I keep saying map and field, getting those mixed up. Don't know why. On the right, baseball pitch. Come over here for a bit of Little League if you want to. Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. I apologise if I'm offending any of my American viewers. It is not my intention. So we're into the town itself now. Field 2 on the right hand side, the town on the left. There are a couple of fuel tanks in here. There's one on there on the left. Like I say, no gas station itself. And as we come across the western side of the map, we're just going to turn south now. We've got field 1 and field 4. There's a lot of this seems a lot more open, and I don't know if that's just my perspective on it, whether it just seems more open. It seems a little bit more lush, greener. There doesn't seem to be as many trees on the map. I don't know if that's been taken out so PS4 can cope with it. I'm not too sure. It just seems a bit more refined, a bit tidier. We've got our park on the left hand side, sort of commemorative park. There's cannons on the inside, and that water course was where originally you could get your free water from, which obviously now, even if you do refill from there, you still end up having to pay. And as we are now heading south, we come across the railroad tracks again. The level crossings all seem a bit neater, a bit tidier and crisper, which brings us to the freight yard. This is the next sell point. A couple of changes here, again the grill, the mesh, the silo just there, wasn't there before. This barn didn't really use it very often. There wasn't a lot of need to have equipment stored down here, but I do like these big barns. Gives you plenty of room for putting equipment into. Now I'm trying to think of anything I might have missed. I don't think I have. I've done the store, done the sell points. I will head back up the hill now. So we are heading south again, back up the hill, and then if we head eastwards, back to where we came originally, we'll head back over towards the farm. Back past the machinery store, back to the main yard. Now with a lot of the placeables and things available now, you can probably make up a secondary farm somewhere else on the map if you wanted to. That would be entirely up to you. FS17 is nothing if not flexible, and now with placeables and things you can do all sorts of stuff. I am absolutely blown away by how much this has changed here. It's the same but vastly different, if you get my drift, if that kind of makes any sense at all. It's a cracking map. It's a great map. I really do enjoy it, and I may well drop onto this one. I'm not too sure at the moment, but I do enjoy playing this map. But anyway, that's the Whistle Stop tour, taking most of the sights and sounds of Westbridge Hills. I hope you found it useful, interesting. If you've never played on it before, drop on, have a look. If you have, it's a kind of firm favourite. Like I said, it's like coming back to an old friend, but some things are different, some things are the same. I think for the better. It seems more open. It's changed enough that it's different enough that it's not just, oh, I'm playing Westbridge Hills again, but there's enough familiarity that it feels nice. It's I don't know, that's just me personally, my own personal opinion. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this first look map tour. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free, and if you'd like to share the video, please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do, thanks for watching.